Hi, I'm Danny Lipford.
And I'm Chelsea Lipford-Wolf.
Thanks for watching this episode of Today's Homeowner here on YouTube. And don't forget to leave us a like and a comment.
And be sure to share with a friend, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you get notified of new videos.
Thanks and enjoy the show.
This week we're helping a couple tackle some exterior maintenance chores that may be on your list as well.
Caulk and paint makes a carpenter what he ain't.
Yeah.
What do you think so far?
Unbelievable.
Vinny and Linda recently retired and moved to this house a few months ago to be closer to their grandchildren.
One of the things we looked for when we were looking for a house was one that wasn't 100% complete, because we really did want to add our touches to it. And so we found this house, and even the things that need to be changed don't need to be changed immediately. So we can do it over time, we can do it at our own pace.
He's extremely handy and has no fear of attacking any kind of homeowner project.
My philosophy is pretty simple. You know, I can always try it, and then I can always hire somebody if I can't do it.
So we're here to help them tackle some outdoor maintenance issues before they begin making other improvements.
So Danny, let me show you this over here. This railing is coming apart at the bottom here.
Oh yeah, yeah, a lot of separation there. Kind of loose. Yeah, we can tighten that up pretty well.
I'd like you to take a look at my front door.
Okay.
It's been a pet peeve since we're here. We're only here 5 months, but I keep looking at that door thinking it needs an improvement.
The paint's peeling and the hardware isn't matching. So.
And it looks like a piece of the wood is even missing under one of the locks.
Do you have an idea as far as color?
Yeah, I think we're going to go with a neutral black.
Okay.
And that way it'll cover up a lot of the...
And it'll go with anything.
And it'll go with anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me show you one more thing.
All right, sure.
Okay. We've got this issue over here.
Oh boy.
Branches, leaves collecting in that valley.
Ah.
And then on the other side of the house, there's actually damage to the fascia board and to the soffit.
Okay, so water has gotten down
Looks
inside
like water's
there.
gotten under it.
What else you got?
I got something over here.
Okay.
If you take a look at this siding,
Something's
bottom
going
bottom
on
row
there.
doesn't seem to match. It looks like they stuffed a 1x4 in there. Yeah, and then we have these shutters. You can see that 2 of them are pretty badly damaged, and this one's falling apart.
Actually, on the siding is an old hardboard siding, and I think you can find this same type in a fiber cement siding. That way we don't have to worry about it. Shutters are a whole different thing. They're always different sizes and hard to match.
After we take some measurements, Vinny shows us some more issues on the back of the house.
So if you look over here on the back of the house,
Uh-huh.
the bottom of the door over there,
Oh, yeah.
is all rotted out. Water damage. If you look over here, you can see where we had an issue with the chimney,
Oh, yeah.
and it's rotted out some of the fascia board.
But the chimney's fixed.
Chimney's now
Good,
fixed.
good.
Yes, that was water inside the house was something I didn't want to deal with.
Yeah, no,
And
that's never good.
So most of what we will be dealing with is cosmetic, and when we return to start the work, we begin with the most obvious issues, the siding and the front door.
Well, I'll tell you, on the shutters, I look everywhere for these things. We could have had them custom made. It would have cost a fortune and taken a long time. So I think since these are nailed in, as bad as it looks, we're going to try to cut and piece these pieces in. I think we'll do the siding first.
Okay.
And then we'll see if we can shore up all of these. Fortunately, these other shutters are under the porch,
Right.
are in pretty good shape.
And this here looks like it just needs to be pushed back up.
Yeah, so some of those, and we can put some screws in them
screws or
here and
nails.
there, but let's see if we can get a hold of this siding and start tearing that 1x4 off right on the bottom. Okay, you're making me look bad here.
And I'm saying, well, you know, I don't want them to leave the first day of the job. I'll wait for you.
No, you go ahead.
So I slowed down a little.
We picked a nice hot day for this, didn't we?
With the headband and the glasses, I think Vinny's pretty serious about his home improvement.
Well, at least it's a little cool in the morning.
Well, we're in the shade. That was a good choice.
Yeah.
The more I worked with Vinny, the more I realized he pretty much knew what to do. I think we're going to try to save this piece of siding.
Okay.
So what we'll do is take an oscillating saw and see if we can't cut these nails right here.
An oscillating tool with a metal cutting blade is the perfect tool for this job because it allows you to slip the blade behind the upper piece of siding to cut the nail that holds the lower piece in place. Then it's just a matter of working the siding free from the headless nails. Meanwhile, Chelsea and Linda are removing the door hardware so they can prep it for paint.
So we probably use a scraper to get all the chipped paint, and then we'll sand it. Yeah, I noticed down at the bottom a leaf got stuck in the little threshold.
Oh, I see it. And they
painted it. What?
I see it now. Yes, they painted right over it.
How do you not notice that there's a leaf in the door as you're painting?
They got to the bottom and they were just done. They wanted to be done with it.
I'll tell you what, let's do, Vinny, I'll cut a section of this off. But what we'll want to make sure is that that's the color, because look how much it's faded.
Exactly.
You know, so you can take this to the home center and get it matched up, and that'll give us a better chance of being able to match it all up.
The hole saw is the tool to use when you need to drill large diameter holes up to about 4 inches in diameter. But they do have one annoying characteristic in this, and here it is. When you're drilling all the way through the board, the wood plug can often get stuck inside the hole saw, and it's very difficult to get out. Often you have to disassemble the entire hole saw to get it out. So here's a simple solution to avoid that. What you want to do is drill about halfway through the board. You start and just drill down. There you go. You just see the hole there, and you just put the pilot bit back in that hole and finish drilling the hole. There you go. What happens is the plug is sticking out about halfway. You can usually pull it out by hand. If not, you can use a pair of pliers. And now, you just all set, ready to drill the next hole. And the other advantage of this technique is you have a clean surface with no splintering on both sides of the board.
We're helping Vinny and Linda tackle some simple repairs on the outside of their recently purchased retirement home. They've taken a piece of the damaged siding we just removed to the Home Depot so the pro at the paint counter can match the color perfectly. Now Linda and Chelsea are trying to prep that rough front door for paint.
Well, part of it looks like it may have been a pre-stained door.
Yeah.
They decided to paint it this lovely green, and then they went over it with the gray, but I don't think they did any prep work beforehand.
All right, Linda, this is a lot more work than I anticipated.
I
And
agree.
we're working over our heads, so I'm thinking maybe we take it off the hinges.
This door is a perfect example of why it's important to prime before you paint, because they painted right over the polyurethane from the stain door and it just didn't stick very well, and it's peeling off and it's making a lot more work for us now.
Now I was able to find this hardboard siding, the matching profile in a fiber cement siding, but the fiber cement siding, as durable as it is, still is a little brittle when you're hauling it from the home center to your home. So here's what I did. I have 1x12s that I've kind of encapsulated it with so that I can protect all of the edges of the fiber cement siding.
I'm cutting one of these pieces in half to act as backing for the bottom course of siding. Without this backing, the bottom course would sit on the wall at a different angle from all the others. The new siding slips under the row above it before it's nailed in place.
Caulk and paint makes a carpenter what he ain't.
Yeah.
I've never actually met anyone else who's heard that phrase, so it's kind of refreshing to know that Dad's not the only one.
While Vinny and I finish installing the siding, Chelsea and Linda continue sanding and scraping. When our siding is finally ready for caulk, the front door is ready for primer.
Painting the top and the bottom of an exterior door like this is pretty important because it helps keep moisture out, which can reduce the amount of expansion and contraction, which can then reduce the amount of cracking and peeling paint.
The peeling was so bad that they're now filling in some of the low places with auto body filler.
All right, this is perfect for filling in like the most obvious divots, but we're not gonna wanna skim coat the whole door, so try not to get carried away, even though it's addictive.
She looks pretty serious.
I'll tell you.
Is she always that serious when she's doing home improvement stuff?
That's my job.
So now it's time for the shutter challenge, because we have a few pieces of the existing shutters that are just too rotten to even save. So I'm going to basically reproduce them using some very simple wood here. This is treated wood, and it's what's used for deck boards. And it's perfect because it's 1 inch thick, the same as this. I'll be able to rip and route in order to get the profile to match on all of the different pieces. But wait until you see how I'm going to reproduce the shutter slats.
Because it's late in the day, that will have to wait for tomorrow. Chelsea and Linda finish the day applying the first coat of black paint to the door. Day 2 starts with the second coat.
It's kind of funny how navy blue it looks when the paint goes on, but then it dries
Then it
so
dries
dark.
and it's very dark. Yes, it does look black.
I always like fun paint color names, and this one's called, what was it, limousine leather.
Limousine leather, that's it.
I don't know, I might have to rent a limo and compare.
So a few of these shutter slats are kind of rotted out on the end. We could almost save them, but there's something I've always wanted to try, and that's, you know, the big paint sticks like this that you use for the 5-gallon buckets. It is so close to the same size. The wood's good quality wood. All we would have to do is cut just a little off of it, see?
Trim it down.
A little bit of sanding on the edges, cut them off. I think I'd make a pretty good shutter slat, don't you?
I think so.
All right, we'll give it a try. Now, if this works, this was my idea.
If it doesn't, it's mine.
Right, there you go.
Okay.
There we go. You got it. You're catching on to this.
After we rip the paint sticks to the proper width on the table saw, we sand them, notch the ends like the originals, and seal them with primer. Then I coat the edge of the existing shutter rail with lipstick so I can transfer the pattern for the slots to the new rail I've created. Then I use a spiral saw to cut out the slots before putting the rail and bottom piece together. Then it's a matter of inserting the slats and screwing the assembly in place.
Okay, I admit this is a lot of work to put into 1 or 2 shutters, but when you think about the alternative of replacing them completely, first of all, it'd be a special order. It would take 2 weeks to get, and each shutter cost over $200. Then it would have to be primed, painted, and installed. And when you look at these 2 pair, we're talking about almost $900. I think we made the right move.
Power strips are so handy, especially if you have a lot of devices that you need to plug in and you need them nearby. The problem though is some of those devices have really big, bulky plug-ins. And chances are when you plug it into the power strip, it may cover up 1, if not 2 of the other outlets. That can be a problem, but I think I found the solution to it, and it's right here by Globe. Now this is their Flexagon power strip. Now the reason why they call it the Flexagon is look. Flexes. This is perfect for plugging in all of your devices because look, you can plug in something here and even if it's big, it won't impede the surrounding outlets. Now, if you do have a device that uses a USB port, you can plug it here at the end, and I love the flexibility because it can get around all of your furniture. And also, this has happened to me where I've tried to plug in something and the cord just didn't reach, but if you've got a little bit of flexibility, maybe you can get that plugged in. It also doubles as a surge protector. So this is a perfect solution if you need a little bit of flexibility to your power strips.
Like many of us, Vinny and Linda have several repairs that need to be made outside their house, so we're helping them tackle a few. The painting is complete on the front door, and once Chelsea and Linda replace the hardware and add a new door sweep, they move on to the loose handrail.
The problem with this handrail is that both the top and the bottom were attached too low to the 4x4 post to begin with, so there's this big gap. But if we can detach both of them, raise it up and attach them at the proper height, then we're good to go and we seal up that gap.
All right, so you're gonna pry it up and hopefully close the gap all the way for us. Oh, you already got it.
Already got it?
All right, I'll try not to put as many screws as there were before. Is that okay with you, or do you need 8?
As long as it's steady.
Okay.
8 may have been overkill. Okay, let's see. Oh yeah,
Nice.
that's not moving at all.
Better than before.
Much.
Out back, Vinny and I are preparing to fix some rotten fascia boards.
Vinny, I noticed earlier I measured this, and the seam is right at 8 feet, so that'll make it to where we won't even have to cut the fascia board.
A little bit
All
easy.
right, I'm done with the handrail. What's next?
Everything work out good?
Yeah, it's good. We just gotta paint it. You want me to go ahead and paint the siding then while we're painting? Uh-oh.
That sounds like a plan.
That sounds good to me. Linda loves painting, I
Oh,
hear.
absolutely.
Okay.
She lives for it.
Okay, yeah, I'll ask her about that.
You said that.
Since there's already a seam in the board, we can simply tap the damaged piece outward until we're able to pry it up and loose from the framing. To replace it, we're using cellular PVC material, which cuts and shapes like wood and can be fastened with nails like wood. It costs more than ordinary wood, but it won't ever rot, no matter how wet it gets.
If I don't have to replace it ever, that's really well worth it.
On the next piece of fascia we need to replace, we have to cut our own seam. Vinny pushes up the drip metal and shingles so I can get to the top edge of the fascia board with my jigsaw. After that, the process is the same as before. After we caulk the seams and apply a stain blocking primer to the water stained soffits, we're ready to tackle that back door.
I think Vinny has told you all that painting is my favorite activity.
Is it?
It's not. I don't mind it. He's the one that doesn't like to paint.
Yeah, see?
But he's very good at it.
But I really hate to do it.
So.
Dad's the same way, but he's not very good at it. When he paints, it looks like a fish flapping its tail on the shore. Do you know what I'm talking about? He's like no.
Well, I know who will be doing all the painting now.
But I think he does it on purpose, so he doesn't have to.
So Vinny, the problem with this kind of thing, it happens all the time, is that when the builders are installing the doors, they never paint the underside of that, and it's wood, it's going to wick that water up, you know, the rain coming off the roof and that kind of thing. So we see it all the time. The good news is we can use the same kind of material that we used on the fascia, which is the cellular PVC. You see it's the exact same size, exact same profile.
Yeah.
So each component that you have to replace over the years, you use this, you won't have to do it ever again. So,
And Linda will only have to paint it once.
I know it. There you go, throwing her under the bus again on with the paintbrush. So.
We have less leverage with this brick mold, so I'm using a nail set to drive the finish nails that hold it in place as far through the material as I can. Then we can pry the rotten wood out and clean up the surface.
That's what
Yeah,
coffee.
I don't think you have enough painting to do.
Linda wanted me to come check up on you.
Yeah, right.
We'll have some more painting for y'all soon.
It looks worse than when we got here, Dad. Are you sure you're doing it right?
You have to make it ugly before you make it pretty.
Sounds like he's used that excuse quite a few times before.
Next, I'm filling the void between the door casing and the framing with expandable spray foam before we attach the new brick mold to make it look pretty again. Since I can't put it off any longer, it's time for me to finally get up on the roof and check out these valleys. A cordless blower is the ideal way to clean a roof in most cases, but these leaves are still wet from a rain last night, so I also have to use a broom on some of the thicker areas.
It's pretty typical of Dad to make me finish his work. Does Vinny do that to you too?
I'm usually involved in the cleanup.
Ah, the cleanup crew.
Yes.
I'd rather paint than clean
I
up.
would rather paint than clean up, and I like the fact that we do the painting after they do all the work, because then we get to see the final product.
That's true. And take the glory. The old saying is, caulk and paint make a carpenter what he ain't.
This is an asphalt roof, so the only metal here is in the valleys and the flashing. But roofs made entirely of metal are becoming more and more popular, primarily because of their durability. They can last over 50 years, protecting a home from hurricane-force winds, hail, and even wildfires.
You know, I'm relieved after I got all of the leaves out of the valley that it's in pretty good shape. Actually, at some point, it's been painted, and that's what I thought I would be doing, is finding some rust, having to put some primer on it, and then repaint the valleys, but really, they're in pretty good shape. I'll just have to encourage Vinny and Linda to make sure they keep it this clean.
Metal roofing is also low maintenance, but the fact that it comes in so many different colors and styles makes it an easy choice for homeowners. Now, whether you like the look of shake, tile, or traditional shingles, you can get the style you want with the durability benefits of metal. Now that the roof is clean, there's just a little more painting for Chelsea and Linda before our work here is done. Vinny and Linda bought this house because they wanted a clean slate they could begin customizing to their own taste on their own schedule. The peeling front door is now weather-tight and much more attractive, while the stair rail is safer and better looking as well. That water-damaged siding up front has been replaced with something that will last much longer, and the wood shutters that were falling apart have a new lease on life. Vinny and Linda just had the aging roof repaired, but it had already done some damage to the wood fascia around the house.
I think we accomplished a lot. I think we got our minor projects underway. We've still got a few more that we need to take care of, but we're headed in the right direction.
So I feel confident now that I can go ahead and do some of those things on my own, including painting.
Well, I'm really glad Chelsea and I were able to help Vinny and Linda with a few of their maintenance chores. You have a few of these projects around your house that you've been thinking about, maybe you need to take care of, well, go ahead and take care of them, and we can help you out. Thanks so much for being with us. I'm Danny Lipford. We'll see you next week here on Today's Homeowner.
Hey, thanks for watching this episode of Today's Homeowner. And don't forget to comment, like, and hit the bell icon so that we can notify you when new videos are posted.
And don't go anywhere, click around and continue the home improving fun.